I'm 60 Second Spidey, and I'm recapping mainline Spider-Man comics in timeline order. Here's part 14. Peter and Mary Jane are finally dating and decide to go to Peter's apartment, but turns out Harry rigged it to explode and totaled the place. After making sure MJ is okay at the hospital, Peter searches for Harry and learns he's followed his father's footsteps, becoming the Green Goblin. The two fight, and Harry reveals he knows Peter's secret identity, and he won't stop until he ruins every aspect of his life. Peter is checking on Mary Jane in the hospital when he hears Green Goblin was sighted nearby. Spider-Man takes on Harry Osborn, who blames Peter for his father's passing and reveals that he has kidnapped Aunt May, MJ, and Flash, and says one of the three of them has a bomb strapped to them. Only having time to check one, Peter deduces Aunt May was in danger and saves her in the nick of time. Returning to the fight, Spider-Man knocks Harry out and takes his costume before calling the police. Harry tells them Peter is Spider-Man and he's Green Goblin, but they don't believe him. Peter's apartment was destroyed by Green Goblin, so he decides to crash at Flash Thompson's place. That night, Flash and the whole neighborhood sleepwalk toward a house down the street. It turns out they are being controlled by a man called the Mindworm, who turns them against Spidey, but he breaks into the home and fights Mindworm off, smashing him in the ears, which he used to hear people's emotions and control them. This breaks the spell, freeing the neighborhood from his reign of terror. Peter Parker is looking for a new apartment and agrees to pay $110 a month for a new place. Can you imagine that? At the Bugle, a new villain, the Grizzly, attacks, and the staff tries to hold him off as Peter swaps to Spidey and takes him on, losing but placing a tracer on him. Peter follows the tracer to gather info as a civilian, but is knocked out by Grizzly and his partner Jackal to use his spider bait. Peter was captured by Grizzly and Jackal last issue, who knocked him out and places a metal contraption on his arm to track his movements so they can find Spidey when he photographs him. Peter moves into his new place and meets his neighbor Glory Grant, before doing some science and removing the saw trap from his arm. Spidey learns Grizzly was a former wrestler and finds him at a gym where he rips apart his suit and the exoskeleton, giving him super strength, and demoralizes him by webbing him up for the cops. Spidey is fleeing the cops in his Spider-Mobile and turns down a smoky alley, which transforms into a dock and his car is submerged. Peter continues to fall for Mary Jane Watson, then later is surrounded by the same smoke and attacked by Mysterio. Spidey fights with tons of former villains, who of course are just illusions, so he hurts his hand punching a brick wall. At the Bugle, Peter learns Mysterio passed away in prison a year ago. What's going on? Spider-Man is trying to find his sunken car when he's attacked by Mysterio, who passed away in prison last year. In his new apartment, Peter sees hallucinations and later thinks he sees the deceased Gwen Stacy across the street. Turns out last issue Mysterio plays an image inducer on his suit to drive him mad, but Spidey tracks him down and is able to defeat him, learning this is a new Mysterio named Danny Burkhart using the deceased Mysterio's gear. Jonah isn't happy to hear Mysterio was captured. Turns out he was backing this villain as well. Yikes. Spider-Man saves a woman from being kidnapped and realizes he was secretly helped by the Punisher, who reveals the group kidnaps people to test bioweapons on. They fight the group, but Spidey is captured and brought to their leader Moses Magnum, who unmasks Spider-Man, who was wearing plastic moldings to change his face. Punisher arrives to help and they fight off the group, including Moses, who ends up trapped in a room with his own bioweapon and melts. J. Jonah Jameson is being ransomed in Paris, so Peter and Robbie go to help him, but not before Peter and MJ share their first kiss. While holding money for Jonah, Robbie is attacked by some crooks, so Peter takes him out and knocks Robbie out so he won't realize he's Spider-Man. Unfortunately, the crooks work for a speedster named Cyclone, who quickly beats Spidey and takes Robbie away. Peter is in Paris, where both Jameson and Robbie are being held by the villain Cyclone, while back in New York City, Aunt May faints after seeing a mysterious figure. Spidey shows up to stop Cyclone, who uses super speed to make a, you guessed it, cyclone. But Peter uses a fan he built to reverse the wind back at the villain and quick swaps back to protect his identity. Back home, Peter hears about Aunt May and rushes home, but is greeted by the formerly deceased Gwen Stacy? At his apartment, Peter is confronted by a seemingly reborn Gwen Stacy, but lashes out, claiming that she is an imposter. Scorpion leaves prison and instantly robs a bank, so Spider-Man takes him on, fighting at a construction site where Scorpion knocks Spidey into a cement mixer before fleeing. Visiting Aunt May at the hospital, Peter sees the new Gwen again and is told that her fingerprints match. She is the real Gwen after all. The villain Jackal is gloating as Peter walks with the somehow reborn Gwen Stacy. Scorpion is on yet another crime spree, but is recruited by Jackal to destroy Spidey for good, and sends him to attack Aunt May. She faints, and Scorpion is confused why Jackal had him do that, but Spidey appears and slaps him around like crazy. Aunt May yells at Scorpion for his lack of manners, and Peter worries that Jackal knows his secret identity. Peter is sent to the Everglades to photograph Man-Thing, but is attacked by Curt Connors, who is once again the Lizard. Martha Connors sprays him with a hose for some reason, which gives Spidey time to bite Lizard's tail and tie him up. Lizard uses mental commands to sick Man-Thing and reptiles on Spidey, but Man-Thing resists control and helps Spider-Man long enough for an antidote to be made, saving Curt Connors once again. The Tarantula makes new spike shoes and uses them to escape prison and meet with his ally, the Jackal, as Peter learns the mysterious new Gwen Stacy is a clone. Tarantula attacks Spidey and lures him onto a bus, which picks up the Gwen Stacy clone and is driven by the Jackal. They chain Spider-Man up and bring him to the top of the Brooklyn Bridge, where he is thrown off in an imitation of Gwen Stacy's demise. Jackal, Tarantula, and Gwen's clone have thrown Spidey off a bridge, but he's able to save himself and flee. Looking into the Gwen clone, Peter visits their college professor Miles Warren, who took their cell samples for a project, but had them stolen by his assistant. Trying to find the assistant, Spidey stumbles on Tarantula and the two fight once again, but after winning, Spidey is attacked by Jackal, who reveals he is actually Professor Miles Warren. The Jackal has unmasked himself as Peter's professor Miles Warren and reveals that he was obsessed with Gwen Stacy. In grief, he made a clone of Gwen and silenced his assistant to keep his secret, becoming the Jackal. Spidey tracks Jackal to Shea Stadium where he sets a bomb and unleashes a Spider-Man clone on Peter. While they fight, clone Gwen tells Jackal she hates him, so he snaps and blows himself up, taking the Spider clone out with him and giving Peter an existential crisis. Gwen's clone leaves town, ready to live her own unique life. After watching his clone perish last issue, Spidey is working with his pal Curt Connors to confirm he is the real Peter Parker. Waiting for the results, Peter sees Vulture outside and the two fight, but Vulture explodes. After fighting both exploding Kingpin and Sandman, Spidey learns that they were robots built by Spencer Smythe. While struggling, he realizes his love for Mary Jane, which a clone with his old memories wouldn't have, so he knows he has to be the original. He KOs Smythe and throws the results away, knowing the truth in his heart. Thanks for watching part 14 of my Spider-Man Timeline recap. Like, follow, and subscribe as I post daily shorts and long-form compilations.